You have been praising rebels, but it seems to me that so far rebellion has changed situations only for the worse. Is it not better simply to accept what is? Also, it seems that whatever happens, the evil in the world becomes more powerful, more creative. Can you comment?
Rebellion has not happened yet. What has happened is revolution. And you are in a deep misunderstanding between the two. Revolution certainly has made things worse. For the simple reason because revolution has to use the same tactics which the older society was using. Not only that it has to use the same tactics, it has to use them more powerfully. Only then it can succeed. For example, in the Russian Revolution, the Tsar was one of the greatest violent powers in the world. Now, to revolt against Tsar, you are compelled to be more violent than him. The logic is simple. Hence, the Communist Party trained itself almost in a far superior way as militia. The Tsar and his regime could be destroyed because it was clashing against a bigger violent force. You have to understand the whole extent of the logic of violence. The people who have come in power through violence, as they came in Russia, once they are in power, do you think they will suddenly become non-violent? Their whole training, their whole minds is full of violence. And that violence has been their success. You cannot drop it. Dropping it will mean betraying the revolution, losing the success that was yours. Moreover, the people who have come in power through violence are bound to be violent against each other, because there will be a struggle for power in the inner circle of Communist Party. Whoever proves to be more violent, more cunning, more inhuman, will become the most powerful man. That's how Joseph Stalin became the greatest dictator the world has ever known. He was nobody in violence as far as the revolution was concerned. He was not even a significant figure. He was not even a national leader. He belonged to a very backward part of Russia, Caucasus. And in the party, the 10 most important people who ruled the whole party and the whole country, he was not included in them. He was only a general secretary of the Communist Party's organization. But he had seen how violence succeeds. He had seen before his eyes the world's greatest empire evaporating through violence. He had seen and realized that nothing works except violence, cunningness, cruelty. He learned a great lesson, and he started using the same thing in the inner party circles. It is a well-known fact, although there is no way to say whether it is true or not, but every possibility is that it is true, that Lenin was poisoned by Joseph Stalin. He controlled the organization of the party. He controlled the care that Lenin needed. He was getting old, he was sick. Lenin's wife, Krupskaya, was very much against Joseph Stalin to be around Lenin. But she was helpless. She could not do anything. All orders were going to be through the general secretary. The doctors, the nurses, the medicines, everything was decided by him. And Lenin was poisoned very slowly, in 2 years' time. So slowly, as Lenin became more and more closer to death, power started moving into the hands of Joseph Stalin. Whatever he wanted to be signed, he managed it to be signed by Lenin. Lenin in the last stages was not even fully conscious. Just conscious enough to sign, to say yes or no. Otherwise, he was in a cloudy state of consciousness, paralyzed. And in 2 years continuous poisoning, his brain must have dwindled down. And he had to depend on Joseph Stalin, because Stalin has broken all the bridges between Lenin and the other great 9 leaders of the Communist Party. He was the only bridge. The reason was given that Lenin needs absolute rest, no crowd, no problems. And he has the signed paper from Lenin that all authority is given to Joseph Stalin to decide on my behalf. As Lenin died, Joseph Stalin started throwing important figures one by one. He was really clever to fight with 9 important leaders of the revolution. Would have been difficult. He tried a simple political method. He will manage the 8 against 1. He will invent situations in which that one man was caught. And the 8 were great leaders. The 8 were not interested in that one man, but they never knew that this is the way that it is going to happen to all. Within 5 years, almost the most important people, Zinoviev, Kamenev, were killed, murdered. Few escaped the country just out of fear. Those who remained understood perfectly well that they had to be supporters of Joseph Stalin if they want to live. They supported, they lived. but they lived as nobodies. Joseph Stalin became sole and whole dictator of the great land, 1/6 of the whole world. But one violence leads to another violence. There is no end to it. Just as one lie leads to another lie, and there is no end to it. This is one of the indications of evil. One evil always leads to another evil, then another evil, and you are caught into a vicious circle. If you don't create another evil, your first evil will be exposed. Just to keep it hidden, you have to go on continuously creating more clouds of evil around it. Stalin slaughtered almost 1 million people in Soviet Russia, because these 9 leaders were not all. There were provincial leaders. Russia is a big country. It's spreading from one corner of Europe to almost to the other corner of Asia. It is a vast continent. He had to kill thousands of provincial leaders. This was called purification of the party. That these people were really bourgeois. Their minds were capitalistic. And unless they are finished, the country is not safe. The enemy is within. We can fight with the enemy outside, but if the enemy is within, then it will become impossible to fight with the outside enemy. And of course, there were enemies outside, because all capitalist countries wanted to destroy Russia. So Joseph Stalin had a good argument that if you want to survive, then you have to be absolutely one. No other voice. One single leader. And the people had to submit to it. The people who had done the revolution were finished by revolution itself. And the people who came into power after revolution were not the revolutionaries. They were bureaucrats who knew the methods of bureaucracy and who were capable to become slaves of Joseph Stalin. "60 years have passed, but the same situation continues. The fear of the outside world In Rasa they go on magnifying it, that the whole world is determined to destroy you. And your only possible way to survive is to remain absolutely committed to the party line. No disagreement is allowed. The whole country has to believe whatsoever comes out of the high command from the Kremlin. The people who had thought of the revolution, the people who had for decades prepared for the revolution, this is not the revolution that they were preparing for. That the whole country will become a concentration camp, that everybody will be a prisoner. In India, when freedom came, one of the most important Urdu poets, Faiz Ahmad Faiz, wrote a beautiful song. In the song he says, this is not the morning for which we have been working hard, sacrificing everything, suffering every humiliation. This is not that morning. This is not the morning of our dreams. This is not that freedom. Nothing has changed. Only the rulers are different. The jailers have changed. The jail is the same. What difference it makes to the prisoner who is the jailer? The rules are the same. In fact, they are more strict now. Obviously, because this jailer was a prisoner. Now he has become the jailer. He knows how prisoners can overthrow him. He will not leave any loopholes. He knows by what way he has become the jailer from the prisoner. He will break all the bridges so nobody else can take his place. The new rulers are always more dangerous than the old rulers. Old rulers become relaxed. They start taking it for granted that they are rulers. They are not so alert. They need not be. The new rulers cannot afford that kind of taken for grantedness. They know that they can be thrown. They have thrown, so what they can do can be done to them. For 60 years in Russia, the prison has become more and more destroying of humanity, individuality, freedom. The questioner is right. No revolution has helped, but please don't call a revolution a rebellion. There is tremendous difference. Revolutions have been happening down the history. Rebellion has not happened yet. And why revolutions have failed? They have failed because they had to use the same methods to throw the old society, the old civilization, the old sovereignty. They had to use the same methods. There was no other method. Slowly they became the same. Now Joseph Stalin is nothing but a more stronger Tsar than any Tsar. The strongest and the cruelest Tsar in Russian history was Peter the Terrible. But Peter the Terrible is just Peter the Pygmy if you compare him before Joseph Stalin. He stands nowhere. And he was the strongest and the cruelest and the worst Tsar Russia has seen. That's why he is called the Terrible. But Stalin is a millionfold more terrible and more scientifically terrible, technologically terrible. There is no way to escape the grip of Stalin. But this is bound to happen. In India, I have seen the Gandhian revolution. Although Gandhi was aware of the fact that if the revolution becomes violent, then the same will be the fate as it has been of other revolutions. The revolutionaries, once they are in power, prove to be the worst rulers than anybody else. So he tried the revolution to be non-violent. But he was not aware of many more implications. It was not only the violence, it was also the power. When a man who has never known power comes into power, he is no more the same man. It is just like a beggar suddenly finds a lottery opened in his name. Do you think he is the same man? Yes, he looks the same. He is no more the same man. Leo Tolstoy has a beautiful story. A poor shoemaker became interested in becoming rich. Who does not become? How long he is going to just go on making shoes for others? Just by making shoes, he is not going to become rich. That much is certain. He has to find some quick way. So he starts purchasing a ticket of lottery every month. He saves that much money to purchase one ticket at least. This went on for almost 20 years. He even forgot why he goes on purchasing. It became a habit, an obsession. But one day, what happened? A big limousine came to the poor man's shop, and a man greeted him with suitcases full of notes, and he said, "You have won the lottery." He could not believe. He said, "What are you saying? I and have won the lottery? I have been purchasing the ticket for 20 years and it has never happened. Are you sure?" They said, "We are absolutely sure. You just show your ticket number. You have won the lottery." What happened to the poor man? He immediately locked the shop and threw the keys into the well, because now what is the use of those keys and that shop? Took the suitcases full of notes to his house. In 1 year's time, he wasted the whole money. Prostitutes, alcohol, gambling, whatever was possible, whatever money can do, he did everything. But after 1 year, when he opened the suitcase, all the notes were gone. He looked into the mirror. This whole year he was so engaged he could not look even into the mirror. There was so much to be done and so much money. He was perhaps the most busy person in the whole world. When he looked into the mirror, he could not believe that it is he, because he has grown at least 10 years old, just in 1 year. Money does that too. He wasted himself. he looked sick. He was never sick. He was a healthy man. But now alcohol and prostitutes and gambling and all that together, he looked as if he is just going to die within few days. He said, "My God, what I have done." He went to the well, jumped into the well, tried to find his keys. He said, "Again, the shop has to be opened tomorrow morning." And tomorrow morning he opened the shop. People were puzzled. He said, "For 1 year, you were not even seen here." He said, "Who was here? Paris, London, New York. I don't know where I have been, what I have been doing." That 1 year was hell of a year. I have never suffered so much before. Now I am not going to purchase the ticket of that lottery. But when the first date of the month came, just by old habit, and he said, "Who is going to win that lottery again?" Such things happen once in a while. He purchased the ticket, hoping that he does not win, because he does not want to win. But old habit. Just try to see how human mind functions. You don't want to do it, and still you go on doing it. You have been taking oaths that I am not going to do it again. And you know, even when you are taking the oath, that you have been taking such oaths your whole life and breaking them. And you know that this time too you will break when the time comes. A drunkard says that, "In the name of God, I say, I touch the Bible, I say, I will never drink again." But he knows even then that this he has done before. And tomorrow when the time comes, then he will forget everything, all oath, all God, all Jesus, all Bible. And he will say that such things people go on doing, and what harm all those oaths that I have taken and broken have done to me. One more, it will not make much difference. And he drinks, and while he is drinking, he is thinking that it is not good, it is bad, it is meaningless. He is simply destroying himself. He does not enjoy it either. You have to understand man's duality. He does not enjoy something, he does not want to do it, still he goes on doing it. Just like a robot. And the miracle of miracle was that in the first month, when he purchased the ticket, he won the lottery again. And when that limousine came, he said, "My God, don't do it to me again." But why you are saying to God, you need not do it again? But he knows that is not possible. If lottery he has won, and when the suitcases came again, he did the same that he had done before, saying that what I am doing, this is not right. And saying all this, he was locking the door and threw the key, took the suitcases and saying continuously that this is not right. I should not be doing it because this time these suitcases are not going to leave me alive. Last time what they have done, they had almost finished. And what kind of cruel God is? He won't let me even rest for 1 month. Again I have to go to Paris, to London, to New York, and who knows where and what kind of things I will have to do again. Gandhi was not aware of one thing, that power changes people. It brings out the worst that is in them. Everybody carries that power to do evil. The will, the seed, but the opportunity is not there. It is only potential. When power really comes into your hands, then all your hidden devils start raising their heads and asking you, now it is the time, do it. Otherwise, who knows, next time you will get the power or not. So the people with Lenin were all violent people. So it is not surprising that the most violent out of them did what he did. It seems to be absolutely logical. But the people who were with Gandhi were not violent people, as far as their surface is concerned, as far as their persona is concerned. They were not violent people. Nobody could have thought that these people will turn violent, will exploit the country in every possible way. And these people were servants of the people. They have lived a life of sacrifice. They have renounced their money, their families, their comforts, and they have suffered all kinds of punishments, imprisonments, beatings. Nobody could have thought. These were the people whom Gandhi had trusted, and there was apparent reason to trust, because when British government soldiers were beating them, Gandhi's instructions were that you are not to retaliate. You have just to stand there. Let them kill you, but no violence from your side should be possible. And thousands of people behaved in that way. The British government was in a great confusion. No government has ever been in such confusion. Because if these revolutionaries were using violent methods, then there was no problem. The British government could have crushed them, immediately shot them all. There was no problem. They were nuisance, violent. They deserved it. But these people have not done any violence, have not been nuisance to anybody. In fact, what they are doing is strange things which no revolutionary has ever done. They were reciting from Gita, standing before the governor's house, reading from the Bible, quoting Jesus, prayers from Christians, Hindus, Mohammedans, from all religions, they are praying. Now what to do with these people? Even the cruelest person will have a second thought that to suit these people does not seem to be the right measure. But there was nobody to tell idiots like Winston Churchill that when revolutionaries are using new methods, why you don't use new methods? Let them recite Bible. Your soldiers also recite Bible. What is the problem? You recite loudly. They cannot take over the government by reciting Bible. Let them recite, you participate, it is good. Let all government people also join them in reciting and let them be puzzled. If I was in Winston Churchill's place, that's what I would have done. No non-violent revolutionary has to be sent to jail. This is absolutely ugly. He should not be beaten. For what? If he is doing prayer, you join. Prayer is a good thing. And invite him that come every day. We had forgotten to do prayer. You have reminded us. Come every day. Treat them well. Offer them a cup of coffee or tea. Some sweets for children to take home. That would have been the right answer. But in that hollow head of Winston Churchill, it was impossible to have such an insight, a simple thing. He started doing what was absolutely unnecessary, which destroyed the British Empire. It was not Gandhi. It was the stupidity of British Empire itself. If you behave with people who are non-violent, with bullets, you cannot survive. The whole world's sympathy was with Gandhi, his revolution. Even in Britain, the sympathy of British people was with Gandhi. Anybody who has a little sense and humanity, his sympathy will be with these poor people who are not doing any harm, and you are shooting them, killing them, and killing in such a horrible way. In Punjab, in one place, Jallianwala Bagh, it was a public park, walled, with only one door. It was a secluded place for large meetings. 100,000 people could sit, and there was going to be a meeting of non-violent people, not even with a staff in their hands. And these are not the people who are non-violent by nature or by their tradition. Punjabis, Sikhs, even Sikh religion says that every Sikh should carry a sword with him. That is essential. That is part of his religion. He does not require any license. Even in countries like India, where you cannot carry a weapon without a license, the Sikh carries the weapon because it is a question of his religion. You cannot hurt anybody's religious feelings. Although it is not such a religious feeling at all, carrying a sword. You can kill anybody. This is not a religious thing. But Sikh religion makes it a point, and British government has been allowing them for 300 years. So there was precedence for 300 years. They have not been prevented. Now to prevent them is to make them unnecessarily angry. It is better to let them carry their swords. In Jallianwala Bagh, most of them were Sikhs, but because they followed Gandhi, they had not brought their swords. Gandhi had said that no weapons, not even a staff, not even a bamboo, you should carry. You should be absolutely unarmed. And let them kill how many unarmed people they can kill. Let us see how far they can go in inhumanity. These 100,000 people, and the British government unnecessarily attacked them because they were doing nothing. They were just doing prayers and asking God to make the country free. No, there is no problem. You can ask God not to make the country free. What is the problem? If they are asking God, you ask God. You have all the churches and all the priests. Let all of them ask God that not to make the country free. If it is a question of fight in prayers, do it in prayers. But they sent General Dyer, a very cruel man with machine guns, an army. You can think of that situation. One door, General Dyer with machine guns on the door, high walls which you cannot climb, and he started shooting. He killed thousands of people, children, women, old people, for no reason. But it created a world uproar. Even British government has to call General Dyer back to England, had to appoint a special judge to inquire into the case, just to show, because the sympathy was with the Indian revolutionaries. Something has to be done. The responsibility has to be thrown on General Dyer, and he said, it is none of my responsibility. I received the order from the Governor General, and I am simply a soldier. What I can do except follow the order. And if you want an investigation, put the investigation on the Governor General. And I know perfectly well that he received it from Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister. From nowhere he can receive the order. But who listens to a poor general? The investigation continued. That's how government investigations go on. They continue for a few years. By that time, people forget all about what was the matter, who did it, what happened. So many things have happened since. So many other investigations are on. Finally, the report comes, and the report is all legal jargon. And nobody knows what result. Government investigations never come to any conclusion. No punishment was given to General Dyer. In fact, by what face British government will punish General Dyer? Yes, he was retired with good arrangements for his future life. This is not a punishment. This is a reward. These people who stood before machine guns barehanded, opened their chests and told the soldiers, you kill as much you can. Because anyway, living in slavery is worse than death. Finally, the British government caved in. Gandhi had never thought that these people trusted well known for years to be absolutely non-violent, not power-hungry, suddenly changed. When the revolution succeeded and these people came into power, they started doing the same that British government was doing. Now they were shooting communists, they were shooting socialists. They forgot completely about non-violence. You will be surprised to know that what to say about them. Even Mahatma Gandhi forgot all about non-violence. He was asked by an American a writer who was writing Mahatma Gandhi's biography, Louis Fisher. And it is one of the most beautiful biographies of Gandhi. He asked Gandhi that you are talking about non-violence, but if the country becomes independent, are you going to have armies or not? Gandhi said, the answer is obvious. The moment the country is free, there will be no armies. Louis Fisher asked, if somebody attacks the country, because you have been attacked for 2000 years, even with armies and every way to protect yourself, you have been attacked for 2000 years continuously, and you have been enslaved again and again. What will happen when you dissolve the armies and throw your arms in the ocean? Then from all around your country, people will rush in. What you will do? Gandhi said, we will welcome them. That if you don't have place in your country, we have enough. You can come here. Even if we don't have enough, we will share whatsoever we have. Live with us. Louis Fisher persisted. He said, times have changed. People may not be coming directly. They may be bombing you from the air. What you will do then? Because there will be no encounter face to say. Gandhi said, I believe in God and I believe in the soul. We will stand in the open, looking upwards and praying that if this is the will of God, then we submit to it. But we will pray to God that change the heart of these people who have come to bomb us. Now, this is the man before the revolution. Not much before, just 10 years before. When the revolution succeeded, and Pakistan attacked Indian territory in Kashmir. The Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal, asked Gandhi that we have to send forces and you have to bless our forces. And Gandhi blessed the forces. 3 planes flying over his place where he used to stay in Delhi. He came out into the garden and blessed the planes. Those were the first planes to attack, and then the army will follow. Now, what happened to this man? Armies were going to be dissolved. He was to come to pray to God, not to bless the planes carrying bombs for the same people who were just few days before part of India. They were Indians, but now on the map The color has changed. A new line has been drawn. There are no more Indians. They are Pakistanis. Power has its own ways to destroy you. It destroyed even the non-violent revolutionaries, it destroyed even the non-violent leader. Nobody bothers about that how Gandhi can still be accepted as non-violent. In his crucial moment, he fails. He could not say to Jawaharlal that dissolve the armies and let Pakistan come. And they are our people. Let them conquer us. What is the problem? The country was one before, it will be one again. It may not be called India, it may be called Pakistan. For words. If I was in his place, I would have simply said that. If that was my philosophy, non-violence, it is not my philosophy. If it was my philosophy, then I would have gone to the logical conclusion. It was simple. You all wanted one country and those poor Pakistanis are trying to make it one again. Let them help them. The only difference will be before, if it had remained one, it would have been called India. What difference does it make? Now it will be called Pakistan, which is a far more beautiful word. Pakistan means the Holy Land. India is meaningless word. It was just because the Persians who came to conquer India had no word for S in their language, in their alphabet. So the river Sindhu, they is called Hindu. The closest to S was H. In their language, they can come closest to S through H. So the river Sindhu, which is the border of India, they crossed, they called it Hindu. And the land that lies beyond, they called Hind. When from Persia the word Hind started moving into other languages, by the time it reached Rome, it became Ind. And from Ind comes the English word India. It is absolutely meaningless, just because Persian does not have the alphabet S. That's why you are called India. Otherwise there is no reason. Pakistan is a beautiful word. I would have loved and welcomed them. Yes, the country would be Pakistan, the flag will be there, But what is wrong in it? Their flag is also beautiful, green flag with a star and the moon. It is a beautiful flag. There is nothing wrong in it. The color is good. The symbol is beautiful. What difference does it make? Perhaps they may have forced Hindus to become Mohammedans. So what? You have been Hindus for thousands of years. What you have done? Just for a change. It is perfectly good. Be Mohammedans. Rather than they converting you, you allow them that please convert us. And then be Mohammedans. And you will be majority, vote the country, rule the country. It is so simple. Go non-violent the whole way. If all the Hindus become Mohammedans, who is going to rule the country? These Hindus will rule the country because they are the majority. They are the most educated. They are the most cultured. And with no problem. And the people who would have attacked would have been known in the history as the greatest idiots. But even Gandhi could not manage to have the courage to say to Jawaharlal that this is not right, this is against our philosophy. No, when power comes in your hands, you think in terms of power, politics. You don't think in terms of philosophy. Yes, revolutions have all failed. By their very nature, they cannot succeed. Hence, I am not for revolutions. You ask me, when all revolutions have made things worse, why not we should let things be as they are? You don't understand. That's what rebellion is. Let things be as they are. Don't disturb. Let the nature take its own course. That's what I mean by rebellion. A rebellious person does not waste his energy in fighting with this and that. I have never been fighting with anything. Arguing against somebody is not fighting. I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much that many times I forget that I am arguing against myself. To me, it is just a game. But I have not been rebelling in any destructive way. And I have not told you to destroy anything or to destroy the society or destroy the government. I have been telling you just collect your whole energy from all sources where you have got it involved and enjoy. Bring your whole energy to this moment and let things be as they are. Just the other day, Sila was asking me, she is puzzled. In great anxiety. It is natural because she has to think of the whole commune, that the world economy is going to collapse any day. That is certain. It is going to collapse. The dollar goes on appraising every day. When I was in India, a dollar was 7.5 rupees worth by government rates. From 7 to 22, the dollar has become thrice valuable, or the rupee has lost so much value that it is only 1/3 of its original value. The same is true about all other currencies in the world, because they are all connected. The Australian dollar used to be costlier than American dollar. Even Australian dollar has gone down than American dollar. American dollar is going higher and higher. Our people who come from all over the world for the festival are feeling in it great difficulty, because this time they will have to arrange at least 4 times more money to participate, because the dollar is 4 times more. This cannot go on forever. Economically, there is a limit to everything. At a certain moment, dollar will collapse. That's how it had happened in 1930. First, dollar went higher and higher and higher. But you cannot go forever higher. Where you will go? It went so high that in China, just to purchase a single packet of cigarettes, you had to carry a bag full of notes. In Germany, people were using notes for burning to make a cup of tea. They had lost all value. Even wood was costlier, so it was better to burn the notes themselves. But this kind of situation cannot last forever. When whole the world was in such a turmoil, naturally they all disconnected with dollar. Then dollar flopped. And thousands of people committed suicide in 1930 in America. Millionaires. The Wall Street became the greatest suicidal point. People were simply jumping. All was lost. Just few minutes before they were worth billions of dollars. After few seconds, they were paupers, and they could not accept that. They rather jumped from a 30th floor building and finished themselves. This situation can come again because that's how it had come before. Slowly, slowly dollar goes higher. If President Reagan has any sense, it is time to stop dollar going higher. But he is enjoying, because all Americans are enjoying, that President Reagan has proved a great president. The dollar is going higher, American prestige is going higher, American money is going higher. We are at the tops. But those fools don't understand that sometimes when you fall from the tops, then only you understand that those who were at the bottom were far fortunate, because they could not fall. There was nowhere to fall. They were already sitting at the bottom. And only people from the tops fall. If President Reagan has any sense, but I cannot conceive that he can have that sense, because the whole euphoria in America will disappear. Right now he can do anything, because the American feels in a euphoria. But soon the fall will come. So Sila was asking me what we have to do, because once the fall comes, we will be in trouble. I said to her, don't be worried, let it come. Before it comes, let us enjoy. What can you do? She thought perhaps we can collect at least enough food for 2-3 years. That will be dangerous. If you have food for 2-3 years collected here, then people all around will attack you, because they will not have food, and you will have 3 years food reservoir with you. And when people are dying and hungry, they don't bother. They can do anything. So your food will become a magnetic pull for people. It is better. Whatever happens to the whole world will happen to us. Why are we worried? It is not only going to happen to us, it is going to happen to the whole world. So whenever it will happen to the whole world, it will happen to us. We will not be in any worse condition than anybody else. We will be in a better condition than everybody else. Because at least we have a commune. those people will be carrying all their burden on their own heads or on small families' heads. We can share our joy, we can share our sadness. And the mathematics is, when you share joy, it increases. When you share your sadness, it decreases. We can share our bounty, we can share our poverty. We will not be in any way in more trouble than anybody else. And somehow the world survived 1930. It is going to survive this crisis too. But who knows when it is going to happen? Perhaps it may not happen. A world war may begin before it. President Reagan may have a heart attack. If he has a heart, then it is always possible to have a heart attack. If you don't have, then only you are secure. I suspect that he has, but who knows? Even an artificial heart can fail. The battery can go down. Anything is possible. Don't be worried about tomorrow. So I told her, don't be bothered about tomorrow. Today is enough unto itself. Enjoy, live, and we will see when tomorrow comes. Whatever we can do, we will do. That's what I mean by rebellion. Not bothering about the future. That is the rebel's mind. If death comes, then it is okay. We have lived. There is no grudge. Only those who have not lived will feel grumpy when death comes. But we are living totally. If death comes, it is perfectly good. Any time is right time. It will find us ready. And we don't have much. You can keep your suitcases ready. If death comes, you just take your suitcase. Or you can even fold your tent. That just 10 minutes it will take to fold me. My tent also I am bringing, because with so much crowd going with you, there may be trouble. We can bring our tents. Those who have lived do not bother about death. It is only the people who have missed life are continuously afraid of death. So I told her, you forget about it. this moment has enough to live, to do, to create. Next moment, we will see. We will be there. Whatever will be possible, we will do. And if nothing is possible, then one can always die gracefully. Death is not an indignity. Yes, you can live with indignity. Then you will die also with indignity. You can live without grace, then you will die also without grace. Your death will be the culmination point of your life. Live with dignity, live with joy, live with grace, and death cannot be anything else. It will be the very climax of your life. This is my meaning of the rebel. We are not revolutionaries. The very word is too much orthodox. It is as old as anything else. You can find revolutionaries as far back as you can find human beings. There have been always revolutionaries who have been changing society. And the questioner is right that each time the revolution comes, things become worse. They are bound to become worse. For the simple reason, because if you can throw a regime, for example, if you can throw the regime of Adolf Hitler, then you have to be a little bigger Adolf Hitler. Otherwise you cannot throw it. A very simple phenomenon. Why Adolf Hitler could not be thrown? Do you think efforts were not made? There were communists, there were socialists, there were Democrats, and Communist Party was the most organized party in Germany. Adolf Hitler's success is simply success of brutality. It will be helpful if you understand. When he made his party, the Nazi party, there were only 19 members. The Communist Party was the largest party with thousands of members. The old regime was stuttering. After the First World War, Germany has lost nerve. It was no more a strong nation. Every possibility was there that Communist Party will take over. With 19 people, what Adolf Hitler can do, but he managed to do. What he did, he had a certain strategy. He will not allow anybody's meeting to be arranged. For example, a communist meeting is called. His 19 people will be there amongst the crowd. With weapons tear gas bombs. And they will disturb the meeting. And they will beat the audience who has just come to listen, who had nothing to do. A great communist leader was going to speak. Those were simply people who had come to listen what he wants to say. And they were beaten, somebody was killed, and the meeting was a chaos. Slowly it became clear that you cannot go to attend a communist meeting. They had thousands of members, but this small group of criminals managed one thing, that nobody else except them can hold a meeting without any disturbance, because in their meeting there was no disturbance, because they were the disturbers. So when Adolf Hitler was having meeting, and people are addicts, there are political addicts. If they don't go to a political meeting for few days, then there is some trouble in them. Something starts. They start feeling that something is missing. Now Socialist Party cannot hold, Communist Party cannot hold, Democrats cannot hold, Liberals cannot hold, nobody can hold meeting. First program of Adolf Hitler was to make it clear to the whole country that the only man who can hold a meeting without any violence to the audience is Adolf Hitler. And he made it clear with a simple strategy. Only he was the man who was in news, who was in media, because he was the only political leader who was being listened, and thousands of people are coming to listen to him. And those idiots, communists, socialists, liberals, Democrats, they could not even figure out his strategy. Such a simple strategy it was. They could not even figure it out that why his meetings are not being disturbed. Who are the people who disturb the meetings? It was simple. There was no need to do some field work. Just sitting in your chair in your room, you could have worked out that these are the people who are disturbing other people's meetings. Hence, their meetings are not disturbed, because there is those other peoples are functioning in a conventional way. They have never thought that this will be a political strategy. When only Adolf Hitler was the speaker, only Adolf Hitler was the man in the news, the membership of Nazi party started growing in leaps and bounds. Within 2 years, he had thousands of followers. And all other parties were simply crushed. Before the election, he managed it that there is no other party except Nazi party. He came into power. Now, if you want to throw him out of power, and he needs to be thrown, but you cannot do it unless you go one step further down in humanity than Adolf Hitler. Now, how the revolution is going to succeed? If the revolution succeeds, that means a bigger Adolf Hitler succeeds. But that is the failure of the revolution, not success. So it fails in every way. Either you fail, then Adolf Hitler remains there, or you succeed, then you prove to be a bigger Adolf Hitler. Revolution fails in either case. So it is true, revolutions have not helped. They have created worse conditions for people. But rebellion has never been tried. Revolution is a collective effort to overthrow the government. Rebellion is individual. It overthrows nobody. It simply changes its own hypocrisy. The rebel drops his facade. He is not against any regime, against any society. He is not bothered by all that nonsense. Those who are interested there, let them do their work. The rebel simply is very self-oriented. I have been condemned by many sources around the world that I teach people selfishness. Yes, I teach. It is not a condemnation. This is my whole philosophy. I teach you to be selfish. Because unselfishness has been taught for thousands of years, and it has not helped anybody. I teach you to be just self-oriented. Drop all rubbish that is in you. Clean yourself and start living as if you are the first and the last man in the world. First, so that you don't have to carry the burden of the past, because there is no past. And the last, so you need not worry about the future. That what will happen to my children? They will take care of themselves. You think of yourself and live intensely at the innermost core of your being. That's what rebellion is. Let things be as they are. But you are not a thing. You are a being. Change yourself. Transform yourself. Become a new man.